And want to hear what he talked about Africa's readiness, East Africa's readiness to host that particular tournament. How confident is he that East Africa will produce a better tournament in 2027? Let's listen to what he had to say about that.
You know, I have a duty to develop football all over Africa. I can't have competitions only in those 4 countries where you've got the infrastructure. You've got to have, you've got to create opportunities for the other countries to build infrastructure at the level, World Cup level that we want them, and develop football in those countries as well. I'm confident that the AFCON in Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda will be enormously successful. Will there be challenges? It's like the World Cup Qatar. You know, we are going now to Canada, America, and Mexico. There are going to be challenges. But and that's why I was insisting that the CHAN takes place in those countries, even though they were not ready in February, because I was convinced that it would help us enormously to make sure that we've got a successful AFCON next year in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda.
Well, that is Motsepe saying that East Africa will host an enormously successful AFCON. I want to ask you, Shitera, you brought this up earlier on. What specific, maybe operational, logistical, and maybe technical benchmarks must be met by East Africa to produce such a kind of tournament that we've seen in Morocco, or even better?
I think East Africa and probably Kenya, we've just been shying away from this tournament. You can clearly see that stadium that we saw yesterday in Morocco. Is equally similar to Talanta Stadium.
I think we have some of the clips of, those stadiums.
So I see nothing supernatural about those things they are talking about. It's only that we've been having that fear factor probably to go for it, but we have gone for it. And now they are fearing that whatever they were bossing around,
those are
what is new in all these stadiums that we are seeing.
There's nothing.
There is nothing
architectural. There's nothing.
There's
shocking.
nothing. In fact,
there's nothing shocking.
In fact, from what I saw at Talanta, probably they will have to upgrade this stadium to match what Talanta is putting
Raila
up.
Odinga Stadium.
No, it will be renamed after completion. As it is now, it is still under construction under Talanta Stadium. And I think the question that was being brought up by that journalist, I think nile kwa Kiswahili tunaweza ita wivu. Sasa mtoto mdogo amepata that
person doesn't have exposure.
He was here during CHAN.
I'll tell you.
And
he was even used to in super sports.
And in fact, according to Motsepe, East Africa hosted the best CHAN ever in the history of that competition, to a point that fans used to have the fan zones, that the stadia are full. They've been packed to the rafter. 60,000 seater stadium is full, and it's not AFCON. It is CHAN. In fact, Motsepe was very happy about East Africa. And you see, we are bringing
but also look at what he had to compromise before the postponement to August and all that compromise.
But that is,
it's normal.
It's normal.
It's normal.
You're ready.
It's normal because
will they be ready for CHAN 2020?
It's normal because I think even this AFCON was supposed to be held earlier, but it was pushed not because Morocco had infrastructural challenges, but because of logistical plans.
Sometimes now, in the calendar, the FIFA calendar.
Yes, the FIFA calendar, because of the clubs and all that. So I don't think it was a major issue. Going by the infrastructure, you can clearly see the roads are being done. Our airport, you cannot compare it to there are airports in Ivory Coast, for heaven's sake.
Exactly.
So airports. It's just that pain of not of letting it go. And unfortunately, It is going, and you will see what East Africa will do, because we are known to be hospitable people. You will see the people who have come in the region have always been happy when they go back. So in my view, I think let us do it. Let us have early preparations and show them that we can clearly do better what they have been doing.
Okay, Zita also, he also mentioned about, and this was mentioned earlier on, I think last year as well, about CHAN being replaced by the Africa Nations League. And maybe you can listen to what he had to say this time round about that particular move by CAF.
I don't want one fishing rod to try and catch fish for me in the sea. I want, the AFCON fishing rod was once every 2 years. I'm going to have a fishing rod every year. And part of what we want to do is, you've got to make the African Nations League at the minimum as exciting, and better still, even more exciting than the AFCON. And the judge of that is not the president of CAF, it's not CAF, it's the fans. It's you in the media. And we have to listen to you. Whether we agree or disagree is irrelevant. And sometimes what's even more important is when you criticize us. It's a learning opportunity.
Yeah, you've heard what Motsepe has said about the African Nations League and all that. Also, as we talk about that, Zita, can you also talk about whether is CAF mandated to consult when such changes are made? Did they really consult other countries when making, or do we just say CAF's decision is final when making such major decisions?
I saw a lot of people disagreeing about this, but again, it's a good opportunity for the players in Africa to be, because the African National League will be played with the players on Africa. It's a good exposure for them because it will be every year. Every year we'll be having the national African National League, and whereby, as the president has said, the CAF president has said, it's a place where, again, the teams will make money from this, instead of waiting for 2 years to play CHAN. And then now that the AFCON has been taken to 4 years, after the 2028 will be 4 years. So it's a good thing for the income revenue, and again, this is a good thing for other teams, and then to host these the African National League, because he said, as the previous clip we played about him, he said that I want to give opportunities to other countries, the other countries that are developing, other countries that are doing what, that are supposed to be given opportunities. Not like every opportunity should go to a country that already have the infrastructure and everything. So I think it's a good thing, because the preparation to maybe hosting AFCON, it will be determined maybe on how you host the African National League. So African National League will be good. I love it, and it will be the coming of more teams in the AFCON League, and then that is a platform for our young players. Consulting to, before saying this, of course, the president has been going through, of course, going to all these leagues and of these cups that are happening even in Europe, even in England. So I think he has been getting notes and sitting together with his staff, the committee, and then of course the president. He came up with this idea because he's going to benefit the Africans. And then something else, of course, we've talked about the Pamoja bid, and we have, of course, other the Pamoja bid representative that went to Morocco to see what was happening. I think we have the clips about them in Morocco and see what was happening. And then, of course, they've had notes. And coming home, of course, they will sit down, of course, with the LOC, that is a local organizing committee, and see what we need to do and what we need to improve on. Because staying in Morocco all these, like, almost 3 weeks or 2 weeks, it has taught them on what we, as a nation, as Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, what we need to do. Because
yes. Yeah, before you go to the pop-ups, Wakili here, we are talking about AFCON, what Zita has mentioned, AFCON presenting a major maybe tourism and economic benefit to these countries. But how do you balance between long-term football and the commercialization part of AFCON? How do you balance that? Because it also presents a major tourism and, of course, major commercial benefit to the host nations. But also there's that aspect of long-term football as well.
Yes. Now, before I respond to that, let me add to what Shitera presented and also to what Zita presented. You know, we don't need to host our AFCON the Moroccan way. Ivory Coast hosted it in their own way. It was successful. Cameroon, there were even wars. I think there were some disputes, presidential disputes, and it was so there were heavy downpours. But Cameroon did it their own way. What we only need to do, CAF gives you some basics, fundamentals which you need to conform to, the minimum standards and the maximum standards.
Yeah.
So once they've given us the guidelines, we just need to conform to that.
Okay.
Yes. And now, as to whether on the Nations League, as to whether CAF imposes or consults, it may be material at this juncture. You know, CAF has got different organs. So we have the EXCO, we have the General Assembly, and by the time the president is announcing, this idea must have gone through all the decision-making channels.
Yeah.
But this is Dr. Patrice. You know, since he came to CAF has even made profits.
Yeah.
So CAF, he has even allowed Kenya to host CHAN. Now, if Patrice says we jump right, we will jump right. We'll go there. Yeah. Now, to the longevity on the commercialization, I know some countries which have hosted World Cup and their stadia which was built to host the stadia, some of them have been left dull, only hosting political rallies. Like in South Africa, sometimes there have been complaints. In Brazil, some of the stadium have been abandoned. In Kenya, we have the Sports Kenya. Yeah. It's a statutory body which is charged with taking care of this stadium which have been publicly built with public funds. The ball squarely falls on their feet. But now we need to make football more competitive within so that we can use these facilities. Because right now, today there's a league match. One of the reasons why we have a league match is because of lack of facilities. We are struggling with the facilities. So it is going to be a blessing in disguise so that clubs benefit from. Yeah. Yes.
And before we wind up matters to do with AFCON, let's cross over to the other side of the studio where Zita Jimo is standing by to give us who are the standout players in this particular tournament. It came to an end last night, but we want to know who won the Golden Boot, who won the Golden Glove, was the player of the tournament, all that. Zita, over to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I was so surprised we didn't have the youngest player of the tournament. So I think everyone was over 30 or what happened. But anyway, that's not my decision. That was CAF's decision. So today, let's start with who won the gloves of the tournament. Of course, the Golden Gloves of the tournament. Yassine won the gloves, the Golden Gloves of the tournament. Of course, he's only 34 and he plays for Al Hilal. Of course, that is Saudi Pro League. And again, he is one of the Moroccans who won something, but then ukiona akichukua hiyo present yake, he was in tears. He was in tears after what happened, after the drama that happens. Of course, he plays at Hilal in 6 matches that he played during AFCON, and yesterday saving the most saves that he will do during the time that they were playing, and that is the one who won the gloves, the Golden Gloves of the tournament. And you can see now that he has 5 clinches, of course, and the golden considered 2 goals, and then penalty. Of course, he saved 2 penalties during the tournament, and that's why he won the Golden Gloves of the tournament. And the second one, oh God, I hope he's doing very, very well. Oh my God, Diaz, I hope he's doing very well, because after losing the penalty that was awarded to him during yesterday's final, and he was in tears. You could see even when he was going to pick his the golden boot, you can see even the CAF, the FIFA president actually talked to him and consoling him, and he was so much in tears. But again, Diaz is the one who won it. Of course, he's from Morocco. He's only 26, and he plays for Real Madrid. He plays as an attacking midfielder or a midfielder or a forward. He plays all the positions, and in 6 matches, he had 5 goals. If he had scored that penalty, of course, he angekuwa na bao 6. But of course, he had 6 appearances, 5 goals, and 0 assists, and that is Diaz for you. Oh, I hope where he's doing very well, because yesterday was just another... for him, I'm just hoping he's doing very well. And the MVP, the most valuable player of the tournament, give it to Mane, give it to Sadio Mane. 33, he plays for, he's of course Senegal. He's been in Senegal. Now he has won 2 AFCON, that is in 2021 and this one in 2025. And Mane was outstanding yesterday, even as everyone has talked about his leadership. After the Senegal players walked out of the stadium, he had to call them back. He didn't even walk out of the stadium, but he had to call them back and tell them that we need to finish this, because we have to give a good midfield picture outside there. But again, after winning it, you can see the emotions in his eyes. He was in his knees crying, and winning this, I hope it's not his final AFCON, because he still has energy. He was playing very well. He still has energy. I hope we see him here in Kenya in 2027. Of course, he plays for Al Nassr. Of course, he plays the same team with Cristiano Ronaldo, and toka atoke huko manze Cristiano wanapigwa sana, but again he's been outstanding. And in 6 games that he has played with Senegal, of course he has scored 2 goals and 3 assists, and he has been outstanding. You can see even the goal for the Senegal to reach into the finals came from Sadio Mane. You can see how he was demolishing people on the wing, but again, that is Sadio Mane for you, and that is the most valuable players that were awarded during this AFCON 2025. And of course, the player, the fair play was given to Morocco for what happened. They were given the fair play team of the tournament, and that is what Morocco went with it at home. But again, all in all, congratulations to the Lions of Teranga for winning the 2025 AFCON. And that was my team. Back to you, Randy.
Oh, thank you very much, Zita, for that breakdown. I want to take a short commercial break right here on Sporty Monday, but we'll be right back with more action, including what's happening in the Kenyan Premier League. And of course, down on the hills of Tinderet, what went down there. And we have that package from our very own Shitera. So don't go far. We'll be right back. This is Sporty Monday.